numerous powerful and deadly strikes against the Islamic State group in northwestern Nigeria. The strikes were carried out in coordination with Nigeria and the Sokoto State. As President Trump stated, the strikes came in retaliation to innocent Christians being targeted by the terrorist group. Further, he said that these terrorists had been warned that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay, and warned of more attacks in case of non-cooperation. I have Major General P.K. Sehgal, who's a defense expert, joining me on the broadcast. Major General Sehgal, welcome. And I want to begin by asking you, how do you see these strikes?
Unfortunately, Donald Trump aggravates to himself the responsibility for defending Christians all over the world. In fact, he called the terrorists as scum, and he's carried out deadly strikes against northwestern Nigeria, against ISIS terrorists who he says were committing a genocide of Christians. They were posing an existential threat to Christians. And he said this has been done in coordination and on the request of the Nigerian government. I'm not too sure whether the Nigerian government requested him to do so. Boko Haram has been active in this area for the last about 20-25 years. In any case, it's violence that begets violence. Some people feel that what he's done is the right thing, but on the other hand, very many people feel that it will create further difficulties for Christians in that area. Because as I said, violence begets violence, and any violent activity of this variety invariably gets a harsher response. I'm very certain. And the day and the timing that he chose was, according to me, was very unfair. He chose Christmas Day to carry out such strikes. He's carrying out similar strikes against Venezuela. He's carrying out similar strikes against Syria. He's carrying out similar strikes against Houthis in Yemen. It's really, really unfortunate. As there was no harm being done to American interests. In fact, if they were attacking American soldiers or they were posing a threat to American interests in that area, it was justified. They were not posing any threat to American interests in that area, and saying that he had gone on the request of the Nigerian government to protect the Christians the world over is something that is unacceptable. I'm not too sure whether Biden would have done the same thing, or whether he has a support from within the Republican Party also. But unfortunately, his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has congratulated the African Command for having carrying out a valiant action, and he's praised his armed forces for the same thing. Back to you.
Very well said, Major General Sehgal. And my other question to you really is that, normally under international law, what conditions usually justify a foreign military strike on another country's soil?
If only Americans were attacked, or if American interests were attacked, if your own country is at stake, and you are being subjected to attacks, etc., but particularly vicious attacks of any variety, then strike is justified. Here, in no case whatsoever was any American involved. They did not carry out any damage to any American interest. The so-called Christians in Nigeria, and saying that he's done that on the request of the Nigerian government and in complete coordination with the Nigerian government, I'm not too sure whether it's true. Because one does not, Master Trump has got no credibility whatsoever. What he says today, he even forgets the next day. And I am not in agreement that he is the custodian of Christianity the world over. There is the Pope there who has a role to play. There are Christians all over the world. And he says in Nigeria, they are posing an existential threat. ISIS is posing an existential threat to Christians, and they were virtually carrying out genocide of Christians. When one had not heard of this earlier, it's only after his statement that one has been hearing that Christians in Nigeria were being committed, genocide was being committed against them. I think the strike is totally and absolutely unjustified. Back to you.
Major General Sehgal, thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast. And now in the latest coming in from